Hello, Penguins fans. Happy Wednesday. Good morning to you on this Wednesday morning. Recording this at about 8:50 in the morning. I'm the host of the Locked On Penguins podcast, Hunter Hodes. Penguins 3, Rangers 2. We're going to get all into it for this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast, going to what really changed the game for the Penguins, how it kind of looked similar to Game 5 in this series between these two teams last year, except no one decided to throw an elbow to someone's head. We're also going to get into power play staying hot, Tristan Jarry's performance, Sidney Crosby and Jake Guentzel continuing to terrorize the Rangers, and so much more from one of the best games of the season for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So it's all coming up right after this drop.
You're Locked On Penguins, your daily podcast on the Pittsburgh Penguins, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I'm your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. You can also follow the show's Twitter at @Penguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. I have the dog right over here. He was excited about the win, but he is not. He's just waiting for my mom's dog to come back from the walk. But again, Penguins 3, Rangers 2, got the final score right, will take the W. With that, Penguins are back to third place in the Metropolitan Division. These two teams will not play again until March. So a lot of time between until then. But, what a game this was. The Penguins had nothing, and I mean nothing, through the first 25, 30, 31, 32 minutes. They were dead in the water, gliding around. Didn't look like they cared about playing this game. They were just saying, hey, screw it. It's one of those typical mid to late December games. They're getting bullied, but that all changed when Rickard Rakell delivered a big hit in the corner of the boards on, Philip Hedl. Keandre Miller retaliated, took a penalty, and the Penguins power play, which had scored in 8 straight games, the longest streak for this team since 2012, 2013, when they had those really good power plays, went to work. And Evgeni Malkin was able to tie the game at 1 in the second period. Beautiful screen from Rakell to make sure Igor Shesterkin didn't see it. And Malkin with that beautifully placed shot right under the blocker of Shesterkin. And, that's how you beat a goalie who is that good. I know maybe the Igor chance got to him. Maybe not. But I think it was more of just a perfect shot there. Really nice job from Malkin to lay it in there in the right spot. And, of course, Rakell's screen jumping up, getting out of the way. Shesterkin, no chance for him on that shot. Again, that is how you beat a goalie that is that good. You have to get traffic in front of them. You have to make his life a living hell. And that is what you saw with that goal. Same sort of thing with the Penguins' next goal on the power play. The second unit comes out. The first unit wasn't really doing much. And right after Bryan Rust missed a pretty easy tap-in at the left of the net, parks his butt right in front of the net. POJ has the puck at the point, wristed in, beautiful deflection right in front. No chance for Shesterkin. Again, another way, that's how you beat him. You get traffic in front and you get deflections to beat him because it makes his life even harder. That is where the game changed right there. And after that Malkin goal and after that Rust goal, the Penguins took it to the Rangers outside of a few shifts, I think, in the third period, especially those final few minutes where the Rangers were really pushing. I thought the Penguins mostly outplayed them for the second half of the game. And that's all it can take. Mike Sullivan even said as such after the game, was saying, we didn't have our legs in the first half of the game. We weren't playing well. We weren't getting any quality chances. I even tweeted after the first period that I could count the number of quality chances on one hand, heck, maybe on one finger, because they had that chance, 10, 15 seconds into the first period with Rakell. And then, Kreider was able to get that really lucky bounce past Tristan Jarry to make it 1-0. And then the Penguins were finally able to wake up in the second period. So, everything, was able to come together for the Penguins to win this game in the second period. Special teams do matter. The power play, it has been great. I know, Thronny, come on, buddy. Come here, bud. I don't know why you keep whining at the door. I know. It's okay. We're recording the show here, so you're in the show again. as you always like to be because you're a total nut. Anyways, power play, which, has been an albatross for a lot of this year, stepped up to the plate yet again, 9 straight games now with a power play goal for the Penguins. This unit, both units, I should say, continue to be awesome. Flat out awesome. The Rangers penalty kill, that's a good unit. They came into this game, what was it, 6th in the NHL in terms of penalty kill percentage. And the Penguins, they made quick work of them, to say the least. I'm going to keep you right here, buddy, so you can stop whining in the background. The listeners don't want to hear that. But, just a beautiful, and I mean a beautiful power play goal to tie the game. Rust was able to make it 2-1. And then in the third period, the good play continued when Jake Guentzel and Sidney Crosby continued to terrorize the Rangers. Remember, in the playoffs, they had no answer to that duo, and you saw that again. Poor Jacob Trouba back there doesn't know how to defend a 2-on-1, doesn't know how to do a lot of things, I think, at the NHL level. But, Guentzel made quick work of him, delivered a nice pass. Crosby was able to go forehand, backhand, 5-hole on Shesterkin to make it 3-1, and that ended up being the game winner because Kreider scored just a couple of minutes later, and the Penguins were able to withstand a few barrages from the Rangers in the third period. But, again, I will say this. That game changed in the second period, and I will say it again, very similar to what happened in Game 5 of that series back in May. Remember, Penguins up 2-0 halfway through. I know it sort of helps that Sidney Crosby got knocked out of the game, but still, the Rangers, they suddenly flipped a switch after they got that goal from Adam Fox, and it snowballed 2-1, 2-2, 3-2. The Penguins tie, but then the Rangers get that goal early into the third to make it 4-3 to extend the series. That is all it can take to change a game and change the result. Because honestly, Yins, Penguins were lucky they weren't down 2 or 3-0 at the midway point of this game. Tristan Jarry was saving their butts. They were not skating, but after they got that power play and after Rakell honestly delivered that big hit, because he continues to be awesome right now, it all changed and the Penguins were able to skate away with the win. So that was my key moment from this game. And I think the biggest moment from this game was that Malkin goal to really tie up the game, get the Penguins back into it, because it snowballed from there and the Penguins delivered a very good effort for the most part over the last 30 minutes. So that wraps up this first segment of the episode. Coming up in the second segment, we're going to get into Tristan Jarry's performance and why he continues to play very, very well, because he saved them in that game. But before we get to that, the wonderful BetOnline promo for you all there. BetOnline is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. You can get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college bowl season to basketball and the World Cup. We've got it all at betonline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info. You head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. That is BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, I'm back here on this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes. Follow the show's Twitter at @LRSPenguins. And of course, thank you all so much for making this your first listen of the day. So, Tristan Jarry, as expected, got the start in the game last night. And wow, was he good. He was ridiculously good all game long. I know, had a little bit of that bad bounce, if I can find, not the Rangers goalie stats, the Penguins goalie stats here on Money Puck. I know, let in a bad goal. You know what? I shouldn't even call that a bad goal. It was a bad bounce. Excuse me. I saw some people blaming Tristan for that goal. I completely disagree with those people. I just, it's a bad bounce. Kreider shoots the puck, goes off Pettersson's stick. Tristan can't track it as well. It's in the back of the net. Okay, bad bounces happen. As Pat Damp said of KDKA, and he obviously hosts the Dying Alive podcast with Jesse Marshall and Mike Darnay, he even tweeted, I wish the Penguins would get that bounce once in a while. And I'm like, Pat, are you new here? I think you are new here, because the Penguins, they never, ever get that kind of bounce. It was crappy. You know what? You play on, and the Penguins, they were able to do just that. Especially Tristan Jarry. He was awesome in this one, 59 minutes at 5v5. Expected goals against, 2. Actual goals against, 2. Goals saved above expected, 0.005. So he played as you expected him to. And now he is continuing to really buff up those stats. 11-0-2 in his last 13 starts, 935, 940 percentage. He has been electric for this team over the last stretch. And, I understand that maybe you wanted to keep the backup fresh against the Carolina Hurricanes. You want to get him some starts. Okay. It's maybe the only reason I could see why he got the start. But, Tristan Jarry is this team's number one goaltender right now. He has been that good for at least the last month of the season. And honestly, I think most of the struggles early on that you saw came down to special teams and Tristan Jarry not being healthy. He even said as such, remember back, towards, what was it, early to mid-November, he even said that he was playing through an injury. Definitely doesn't look like it right now. He's playing like one of the best goaltenders in hockey. The second goal, just a really nice shot from Chris Kreider. I know POJ kind of got walked by Vince Trocheck there. Maybe it was his grandma's chicken parmesan when he had the whole team over on Monday night. But, Jarry had no chance on that one and no chance on the first one. I think other than that, he made some exquisite saves for the Penguins to really keep them within striking distance throughout the rest of the first period and the second period. Because remember, especially in the first, because the Penguins, they got out to that 6-1 lead in shots, right? But after that, the Rangers really poured it on. And, to be fair, I know the Penguins had a 6-1 edge in shots. None of those were good chances. The Rangers had the puck the entire time. They were not getting the chances on net after the Kreider goal. But, after about the halfway point in the first period, they had 6 of the last 7 shots to end the period. Second period, they were out shooting the Penguins, 6-7-0, if my memory serves me right. But Tristan was standing tall and was playing at a very high level, and that is a glimpse. I hate to bring this up. That is a glimpse at what it could have been for the Penguins against the Rangers back in May. I'm not saying what happened. I'm just saying it's a glimpse of what it could have been. Because when he plays like that, that is how the Penguins can go deep in the playoffs. They need the goaltending. They don't just want it. They don't just, have to, they don't just, it'll be good if they have it. No, they need that level of goaltending if they are to make the playoffs and win a round or 2 rounds or 3, or especially go to win a 4th Stanley Cup in the Sidney Crosby, Evgeni Malkin era. They truly do need that level, and you saw him at that on Tuesday night. A tremendous performance from the Penguins' number one goaltender. Right now, he is playing like someone who deserves a long-term contract. I'm not saying that he's going to get it, but right now he is playing at the level that I could definitely see Ron Hextall saying like, hey, you know what? That's enough for me. I'm going to pay him right now. I don't think he's going to do that right now. I think he's still going to wait. They're probably going to keep negotiating and stuff, see how he plays for the rest of the season, especially in the playoffs. But right now, he's playing like the way he played last year. No, he's not top 10 in goals saved above expected or anything like that, but he has the save percentage over the last month. He has the wins. He is on a hot streak right now, and I am really excited about it. He'll start, I think, on Thursday against the Carolina Hurricanes, and then they'll have that 5-day break, obviously for the holidays, for Christmas, I should say. And then I think because they have the back-to-back next week, you'll probably see Tristan go against the Islanders, and I think against the Red Wings, you'll probably see Casey DeSmith go, and then that Friday game right before New Year's Eve, I think you'll see Tristan go for that one too. So, they are, he is playing at a very high level, and I can credit him a lot for this win against the New York Rangers. So I really wanted to spend this segment talking about Tristan because he truly was magnificent in this game. So that will do it for the second segment of the episode. And coming up in the final segment, we're going to get into the no call that was not made at the end of regulation. We're going to get into so much other stuff from this game overall and just what it means going forward and why I think this team still needs another third line center. So stick around for that coming up in this final segment. All right, I am back here on this episode of the Locked On Penguins podcast. I am your host, Hunter Hodes. Remember to follow me on Twitter at Hunter Hodes, follow the show's Twitter. And of course, thank you all so much for listening of the day. I apologize for my dog's whining. He's not usually this bad, but I think he's just, he probably sees some doggies out there and he is very jealous about it. Right back into it. And yes, I did change locations because Thrawn, or Little T as I like to call him, he was just being too much at the door. I apologize if you were hearing a little bit of that whining. I will try to cut it out in some of the editing. But so let's get into the rest of the big events that happened in this game. And yes, let's get into what happened at the end of the game. So Penguins are defending a 6-on-5. Everything's looking good. They're actually not doing a bad job of it. And then Mika Zibanejad comes in, one of the fastest skaters, not only just on the Rangers, but in the league, blows past Brian Dumoulin. Dumoulin obviously trips him. And then Wes McCauley's just standing there looking right at the play and is deciding, you know what? I'm going to go back to my hotel a little bit early tonight. And oh, you all know that it only was going to take that for Rangers fans to get pissy. Sure enough, Twitter became a war zone between the two fan bases because of that play. And here is my message about that play. Was it a penalty? Abso-freaking-lutely. Dumoulin got away with one there. It should have been a 6-on-4. Would it have mattered? Probably not, because the Rangers were 0 for 3 on that power play in this game. The Penguins' penalty kill was taking their lunch every single time. It looked like a complete 180 from the playoff series. Do I feel sorry for them? No. I mean, I could say this right now, does that fan base not recognize that they got bailed out in the third period of Game 7 when Alexei Lafreniere literally ripped off Marcus Pettersson's helmet and they didn't call a penalty, which led directly to Mika Zibanejad tying the game with 5:45 to go when the Penguins had the 3-2 lead. Sorry for me. There was also a headshot to Sidney Crosby. They literally won the game, or the series, I should say, on the power play in Game 7. There is no sympathy from me, and there should be no sympathy from any of you all either. I don't want to hear about blaming the refs. NHL officiating is a sham. It always has been. Maybe, as one of my friends said to me, maybe you shouldn't go 50-plus minutes without scoring a goal. Maybe you shouldn't go 0 for 3 on the power play, and maybe you shouldn't let the Penguins get back into the game by taking a really stupid penalty. I'm looking at you, Keandre Miller, with some retaliation to Rickard Rakell. They didn't do those things. They maybe would have skated out there with their 8th win in a row and another win against the Penguins. But nope, that did not happen. The Penguins were able to take advantage of it. Again, it was a penalty on Brian Dumoulin. Wes McCauley, not a good ref. There's no weird conspiracy. There's no, just because it's in Pittsburgh or any of that garbage. It's just, that's NHL reffing. You could literally look at countless games during NHL seasons if people just watch other games other than their own team and see that this happens on a weekly basis. I don't know if it happens on a nightly basis, but it happens on a weekly basis. That is NHL officiating. It gets worse every season. The Rangers were, they didn't get it last night. But I've seen that happen to the Penguins as well. It hasn't been called. We've all gotten upset, but there's no conspiracy. There's no rigged or anything like that. It's just, NHL officiating is a sham. So I wanted to spend a few minutes on that. Again, after what happened with calls and just the series as overall, they don't get any sympathy from me. It's a regular season game. The timelines won't turn into a war zone for 3 more months since these teams don't play again until March. That doesn't really make a difference to me. But, just what a great game this was overall to watch. You look at the overall numbers, the Rangers had the edge in Corsi. They had the edge in scoring chances. The Penguins, though, had the edge in high danger chances and expected goals. Penguins actually had 57.6% of the expected goals at 5v5, and they had 60% of the high danger chances. The Rangers, though, 57% of the scoring chances and 54% of the shot attempts at 5v5. Then if you go to all situations, the Rangers had 60% of the shot attempts, 60% of the scoring chances. Penguins, though, 52% of the high danger chances, and then expected goals, it was a true 50-50 in terms of that. But 5v5, the Penguins were the better team with the expected goals and high danger chances. I think overall, other players that really jumped out to me in this one, I talked about Rickard Rakell, that hit, but man, he just continues to be electric for the Penguins this season. I can't say, enough good things about him. Bryan Rust, he had a little bit of redemption. He looked like he wanted to go after Ryan Lindgren, and I don't know why Lindgren was just cross-checking people left and right in this game, but, Rust wanted to go after him so bad. And Kasperi Kapanen was like, nope, you're not going to do that. You just scored. Do not take a penalty. Go to the bench. We just got the lead with 12 seconds left. We're going to go into the intermission with it. And sure enough, they were able to do that. He restrained him. Jason Zucker had a hilarious answer about this after the game. I'm actually going to pull this up for Jens right now. Danny Showery of DK Pittsburgh Sports asked him about Rust almost going after him, and he said, the guy has fought his pillow about 7 times in his career, and that's about it. So I don't think he's going to do anything. Just a beautiful answer there from Zucker. And man, Zucker has been awesome this season. And, was week to week, comes back after 2 games. And you can just see how much better the team is when he's in the lineup. I know some people like to joke around about his injuries, and I get it. He hasn't been healthy for a lot of his Penguins tenure, but he makes a difference. You can see it out there with his play in his defensive zone, with his forechecking tenacity. I think he's arguably their best forechecker forward-wise. And just, the way the lines, mesh well, with himself next to Malkin and Rust, it is so evident how much he means to this team. Do not take that for granted, Penguins fans. He has been awesome this season, and you saw it again on Tuesday night against the New York Rangers. Making sure I got everyone else that I wanted to hit on. I thought Chris Letang, another very strong performance from him. He continues to play at a very high level coming off that stroke. I don't know if it was like migraines before the stroke affecting him a little bit more with his play, but ever since he came back from that obviously very scary situation, he has played at a Penguins. I think that's mostly what I wanted to hit on for this game. I think moving forward, you look at the forward lines as a whole, the Zucker 72% of the 58% of the shot attempts, Guentzel, Crosby, Rakell, 71% of the expected goals, 50% of the shot attempts, and then Heinen, Bluger, Paling, 100% all around. But then you get to the third line, and I will keep beating this drum. This team is very good. They've won 8 out of 9, 13-16. They're 2 points behind the New Jersey Devils all of a sudden because the Devils have lost 6 in a row, and it turns out that you do not win the Stanley Cup in November. It's almost like that little run was maybe just a mirage for that team. But the third line continues to be a major problem for the Penguins. That is only the only negative that I will take out of this game. The McGinn, Carter, Kapanen line, when they were on the ice, the Penguins only had 15% of the expected goals and 25% of the shot attempts. That is gross, and that's not good enough. Brock, he has played at a good level this season. I think Kapanen has been playing a lot better as of late, but the common denominator, of course, has been Carter. He has not been good for most of this season, and he continues to drag down whoever is on that line. And you can put whoever you want on there. I don't care if it's Danton Heinen. I don't care if it's Kasperi Kapanen. I don't care if you want to move Teddy Bluger to wing. Somehow that's not going to happen, but just using it as an example. It ain't going to change as long as Carter's the third line center. I truly do think this team needs another third line center to really contend in the Eastern Conference this season. If they are able to get that at the deadline by some divine miracle, just because I know what their salary cap situation is, I think they will have one of, if not the best forward groups in the league. It's just, that is the black hole line right now. Carter's not doing enough to help his line mates. And, every time the Penguins, have that line out there, they're just defending. And, another example of how bad that line is, remember the third period last night, a 3-on-1 with Carter leading the charge. They don't even get a good shot on goal from it. It's not good enough, Jens. So I don't mean to end the show on a bad note there, but it's just, that's my main negative that I have. Not just about that game, but about just the season as a whole, with that line. But overall, very gutsy win from the Penguins. Was it ugly? Yes. Is Mike Sullivan maybe fully happy about it? No. Do they need to play a full 60? Yes. Do they need to play better first periods, especially to play the full 60? Yes. It's an obvious question that I just answered, but whatever. But a very big win for them. They take the 2 points. They're now in third place in the Metro, and they have another massive showdown against the red-hot Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday, PBG. I will be there for that one. Really excited to get back up home. I should say, it feels weird that I call it home now, to head to the game. If you all are going, let me know. Love to meet up with some more of you all. But that'll do it for this one. But one more thing. my heartfelt thoughts and condolences go out to Franco Harris and his entire family. I was stunned when I saw the news about his passing this morning at the age of 72. I got very lucky that I got to talk to him just 9 days ago about the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception for my full-time job since I work at this one. Did not seem to have any health problems, seemed to be in great spirits. So I am very stunned by this development. And, again, my heartfelt thoughts and condolences go out to Franco Harris. He always seemed like he was larger than life, a true icon, not just in the city of Pittsburgh, but in the football world as a whole. And, they were getting ready to honor him this weekend against the Las Vegas Raiders for the play. I'm going to be at that game as well. It's going to feel a lot different now, but just wanted to end the show on that note. But again, thank you all so much for listening. Really do appreciate it. I will be back on Thursday with a full Penguins Hurricanes preview with Jared Ellis of Locked On Canes, and then I will recap that game for you all on Friday. So a lot to look forward to this week for the Locked On Penguins podcast. Keep it right here. Subscribe on YouTube. You can listen to Apple and Spotify and ad-free on Amazon Music. Team's playing really well. No better time to keep listening to the show.